Hey, this is Doug Smith, and the company I researched is Huntington Bank, officially Huntington Bancshares Incorporated, and that's based in Columbus, Ohio. Those of you in the Midwest, you probably are familiar with Huntington Bank as a regional bank in the Midwest, and I wanted to measure the flexibility to pay short-term obligations, so I immediately went to the current ratio and quick ratio. Current ratio being 1.1 for Huntington Bank. You can see there the symbol is HBAN, so HBAN for the stock market, specifically NASDAQ, and the industry benchmark is 1.18, so right there, very close to the industry standard. Also the quick ratio, we can see because there really is no inventory for financial services, we're just going to carry that over to be similar in the industry, but the same for the Huntington Bank. Wanted to measure how efficiently they run their operations, and so I looked at the working capital turnover and inventory turnover. Again, because there's no inventory turnover, and that's consistent throughout the industry. The working capital turnover, however, you'll notice that Huntington comes in a bit higher there at 2.25 versus the industry benchmark at 1.05. To measure the flexibility paying long-term obligations, looked at the debt ratio and financial leverage. Debt ratio, again, pretty consistent with industry standards, a little bit higher. Huntington is 0.797, industry is 0.72. In financial leveraging, we have Huntington is quite a bit higher actually than the industry standard, so some decent signs there. To measure the ability of a company to generate profits, obviously that's a big concern, so we want to take a look at that and hope the numbers are good there with the net profit margin and ROE. So Huntington pulls in at 13.69 versus the industry standard there at benchmarked 14.71, and so you can see a little lower, but not necessarily a bad thing there. Return on equity 9.4 versus the industry standard at 8.5. So to look at the earnings per share, which is again another important component of this, and the price to earnings ratio, we look at the Huntington Bank earnings per share. We see at 71 there. The industry standard was a little fuzzy for me. I couldn't find any specific industry benchmark, but I did see on Yahoo Finance that it broke it out per quarter, and the equivalent of what Huntington was per quarter was actually a little bit higher than the industry standard. So I didn't have a one-to-one analysis there for the industry, but I did break that down in some other research analysis as well. The price earnings ratio, you see Huntington at 17 and 36. The industry benchmark is 15 and 8, so and 80. So we have a small win there. And my recommendations, because banks in general in our country are pretty much protected. We know that the federal government doesn't like to see banks fail, and when banks start to fail or at risk of failing, they get bailouts. So that's always a positive thing for stability for investments. Huntington specifically in the region shows growth. Those of you who are from Ohio, Columbus specifically, you might be aware that Huntington just purchased First Merit Bank, which is a huge growth opportunity in the Midwest and expanding into different states. Same with their liquidity rates. They have pretty high liquidity, so they have pretty good cash on hand, and you will likely make a little bit of money. Not a lot, but a little bit of money if you invest in Huntington. I learned that the right tools can really help guide decisions, and things like Yahoo Finance and Morningstar and other websites that are really important to look at, and that there are no guarantees. Ratios alone aren't going to help make a complete 100% effective decision. Doing more research is really important. So personally for me, since Columbus is my home and the corporate headquarters is in Columbus for Huntington Bank, I feel strongly in supporting them, and I would recommend investing for $12.30 a share. It sounds like a good bet.